Married at First Sight episode 10, and this is for the after party, y'all. And I do videos for every part of Married at First Sight for each couple. So be sure to look for the links at the top of the video. Throughout the video, you can click on it and click to another video. Or at the end of this video, you can click on another video and watch it. But I'm dropping videos all day, like every half hour. So definitely subscribe so you get the alerts and you can watch the videos for each couple and the after party. But let's get into this. So first of all, the after party was a good, y'all. I mean, tell you, this after party, like I say every week, I love it. I'm gonna stop saying that because by now y'all should know I love the after party. And some stuff got dropped this episode. Can y'all believe that Alyssa never left? Y'all hear me? She never left. They tell the story that Alyssa comes to the apartment building every single day, to somebody's apartment. She goes to Lindsey and Mark's apartment. She tries to meet Olajuwon up on the roof to talk to him. We already know she's been talking to Jasmina, which is part of Jasmina's problem. She should have stopped talking to Alyssa. And Lindsey called her a cockroach that never goes away. And let me tell you something. She probably is part of the problem that has infected Jasmina's marriage, because when we see Jasmina, we see Alyssa. And now we know why we see Alyssa so much in Jasmina's speech and the way she behaves, because they got a lot of similarities. And come to find out, Alyssa has been coming back to the apartment building every single day. And another little thing that got dropped that we didn't know about was that I guess the roof of the apartment building is where everybody goes to vent, to sort of relax. And so I guess Olajuwon and Lindsey made up since the whole incident at the airport, and they oftentimes are the ones up on the rooftop talking to each other and venting to each other, because they both like to run their mouths. So they have found solace in each other up on the roof, to the fact that somebody in the building said, "Oh, I thought you two was married. You guys are up here so much." So that was also interesting. And then we also find out that Alyssa drops in the DMs of Mark, and they have conversations one-on-one with each other. And Lindsey's like, "How are you talking to Alyssa? And she has blocked me from whole social media." I was with Lindsey on that. If somebody has blocked me from social media and my husband is still talking to him, you know what, I'm gonna have a problem with that. And Mark supposedly said, "Oh, well, I just like to get along with everyone." So we know that Mark does like to be liked by everybody. And like I told you in my video with Mark and Lindsey, these two are not lovers. They are not spouses. They're competitors. And this is part of their problem. They compete with each other on almost every level. And here they are once again competing with each other on the level of friendship with Alyssa. You have one person who doesn't like her, and you have another person, Mark, who decides, well, because you don't like her and she don't like you, I'm going to become a favorite of Alyssa's. See, that's wrong. That's why they like to compete with each other. But anyway, you have to watch that video to get more of what I'm talking about on that particular part. But on this after party, it was Lindsey, Olajuwon, and it was Kevin Fredericks, who's like a vlogger, a Married at First Sight super fan. He was on the show, so he had a little bit of different flavor to it. And they were like, "How are you happy to have him here?" And Olajuwon was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to have him here. He's like a role model because he's been married for 18 years. And then Lindsey says, "I'm always willing to listen to some advice." No, you ain't, Lindsey. You ain't ready to listen to no advice. You ready to give it. You ain't ready to listen. We know who you are, girl. Don't worry about it. Their drink was Strawberry Seduction, which would have crushed strawberries, vodka, lemon juice, a little soda water. So that was the drink of the night. So Keisha went straight in on Olajuwon, talking about where you get these antiquated views from about that marriage is cooking and cleaning. And she was like, "Listen, a woman's worth ain't about cooking and cleaning. So where should you get this from? Because this sure is antiquated." And Olajuwon went into defending himself. I did a whole video on that, so y'all should definitely watch it. But he started defending himself, saying, it's just important to him for his wife to keep the house clean and also to have some food ready. And he gave a little backstory. He talked about the fact that he works overnight. So Olajuwon must work the night shift. So when he gets home in the morning, he's saying, "When I've been gone all night, I come home in the morning and the house is just as dirty when I left." And he talks about there ain't nothing for him to eat. Now that part I do get, because if you have worked overnight and your wife was at home in the nighttime, I'm a wife. I would have made sure that there was something left on the stove in a little container or something, that when my husband came home, even if I was still asleep, he could pop it in the microwave to eat. I do believe that Katina needs to step up her game on that. But in my video, I talk about it. I think Katina is just very uncomfortable in the kitchen because she doesn't have any skills at all, and it triggers her, and she doesn't like being put down in that area. But all she needs to do is go take some cooking classes, get more comfortable, and I think she'll be fine. Because I figured out in the old video that you need to watch that Katina likes words of affirmation is her love language, and she doesn't like to be criticized. No one does. But I think one of her love language is words of affirmation. And so Olajuwon criticizing him in this area, I think hits extra hard to her. And his love language is acts of service. That's why he likes to cook and clean and likes people to do things for him. And so I think that's what's going on with them. He's using the cooking and cleaning thing as sort of the catalyst to talk about it, but it really is acts of service. And so Lindsey chimes in and says, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about because I like chore play. And they're like, what's chore play? And she's like, oh, I love coming home to a cooked meal and a clean house. And if a man cooked and cleaned for me, then that would get my basement flooded. Girl, she always talking about sex in her little her basement and her coochie and all these other kind of things. Watch my video on that because I started talking about Mark and Lindsey, how they like to compete, and this new area of competition is with sex. So they love to hold power over each other using sex, and that's what they're doing now. But watch my video on that. But Kevin gave Olajuwon some good advice, saying basically when he got married 18 years ago, he had to learn how to cook too, so he could cook a few dishes. And he said the main thing is nothing's wrong with having standards and things you want, but the problem because when you become too rigid and inflexible, and that's what he tried to tell Olajuwon, that it's nothing wrong with wanting what you want, but you can't become so rigid and inflexible about it. And I thought that was some good advice for Olajuwon. But Olajuwon made sure we knew. He said, don't get my wife wrong. You know, she can put on for the camera, she can cry and act all nice and quiet, but when the cameras leave, he talks about, oh, she be wagging that finger, she be getting in my face. I told you about that. I told Katina was no shrinking violet and she had a voice. And he says she just knows how to do it and when to do it. That's what Olajuwon said, which means to tell me when those camera leaves, Katina gets in that ass on Olajuwon. And that's why he ends up correcting himself, because Katina doesn't go to bed and not say anything. She just doesn't do it on camera. And I like that about Katina. She's not going to try to badmouth her husband and put him down on camera, even though he does it to her. She doesn't do it. She does it at the appropriate time and place. And then that's why she can start asking for a higher elevation of Olajuwon, because she can tell him, listen, I don't do that to you on camera in the public, so you don't need to do it to me. If you got a problem with me, then you need to deal with me a different kind of way at a different point in time. So Olajuwon can learn something from his wife too. So then they show the clip with Lindsey and Mark fighting, and Keisha and I pulling was saying, you know what, Lindsey, now that you watch this clip back, did you realize you was hitting so far below the belt with Mark? Did you realize how low below the belt you was hitting? And she's like, yeah, but you know, sometimes I just have to vent. That's the thing. Lindsey can't control her mouth. And if you in front of her, she's just going to vomit all over you. So she says, yeah, sometimes I try to call my girlfriend and vent to her. He says, and then that's why she says she started going up on the roof and talking to Olajuwon. But that's part of the problem, that in order for you to feel better, you got to vomit on people. You know, what she really needs to learn is not trying to find people to outlets or vent to. She needs to learn how to control her mouth, because, you know, everybody don't want to listen to that all the time. But the real healing is going to be in her able to control her mouth, not finding someone that she can vent to. And Kevin Frederick, he was like, yeah, that's called brain fart. When the thought comes in your mind, it comes out your mouth before you can even control it. He said, yeah, that's a problem. Exactly is. When you can't control your mouth, that's a problem. But she said she's not going to give up on the marriage. And she said she doesn't want to leave someone when they're down. See, this is the part I don't like about Lindsey. She gives compliments and she says nice things, but she wraps it in sort of a put down. I like the fact that she says she doesn't like to give up on people and all this other kind of stuff. But then she wraps around saying Mark's life is in shambles. Like, why do you say stuff like that? That's why I'm telling you, she is in competition with Mark and he is in competition with her. I talk about it in my video. At every point, she looks to put him down so she can elevate herself. That's competition. That's not actually helping a person. So then they start talking about the intimacy exercises that they did. And Keisha and I talked to Olajuwon and said, ooh, y'all had a lot of pent up sexual energy. No wonder you all was over there fighting, talking about him, Olajuwon and Katina, because, you know, they hadn't had sex. She goes, y'all got a lot of pent up energy. And Kevin Frazier was like, yeah, we just waiting for Katina and Olajuwon to just go all in and just really get up in there, because we tired of seeing them tiptoe around the situation and everything. That's the same thing I'm saying. We know y'all in love. Y'all act like trying to say you ain't in love and continue talking about she holding back. And Olajuwon talking about love ain't on the table. Please, love is already on the table. You eating it up. Y'all both in love. Then they show Lindsey and Mark's sort of intimate exercises, and just like Atina said, it was more comical than romantic. Exactly. Not only was it more comical, it was more competitive than it was actually romantic. It was a lot of domineering, controlling. A lot of things could play into that. So it wasn't romantic because each time it was about one person trying to get the one up on another person. It wasn't romantic at all. And then she was mad when Mark said on TV that, although overall he believes that Lindsey is a 9, he was saying sometimes she's a 7 because of the way they interact. And they couldn't, each night asked Lindsey what she thought of that, and she said she didn't really like his answer. And he says, yeah, it's hard hearing him being kind of shady when he got Alyssa slide in his DMs, and everybody's like, oh, what is she talking about? And that's when she starts telling the story about how Alyssa comes over to the apartment complex every single day. She's on Instagram talking to Mark in his DMs. They're having one-on-one conversations. She comes over, goes up on the roof, and talking to Olajuwon. They ain't got no security up there in their apartment. I guess she still must have keys to the apartment or something. They should have taken them keys from her. So what she does, she just comes over there and sits. Why? She's not married. I don't even know why she's still coming over there. All she's doing is infecting the other relationships. So now we have Alyssa coming back over here. She's causing rift in between Mark and Lindsey. She's obviously getting in Jasmina's ear because some of the stuff that Jasmina says and does looks just like Alyssa. And like Lindsey said, she's a cockroach. I agree with you, Lindsey. She's a cockroach. She's a cancer. And she needs to be kicked out of there permanently. I don't even know why they let her in the building. That ain't no security building with no locks. Somebody need to take her key fob from her so she can't get in the parking garage. And even Olajuwon said, you know what? He could understand how Lindsey felt a certain type of way. I would feel a certain type of way too, Lindsey. I'm on your side on this. He's like saying, yeah, if some woman was talking to my husband and I couldn't even be friends with that woman on Instagram, you better believe my husband better not be talking to her. But Lindsey talks about how Mark just likes to be liked by everybody. And so he was willing to go against her in order to be friends with Alyssa. And she doesn't like it. I agree with you. But part of what Mark's problem is what I said, same to me's problem with Lindsey. They both like so much attention. They love to be the attention hall. They love to be the favorite person. And this is what happens when your number one thing is to be liked by everybody and want everybody to like you. That's what I said about Lindsey all the time. She does all these jokes to get attention. And Mark likes attention too. He likes to be liked. These two are in competition with each other. They're so similar that they compete with each other. And that has been the problem with their marriage since day one. But that was it, y'all. The after party was really good. Some really interesting tea. Some big bombshells dropped. And I hope you like my review. But please check out my other videos for the other couples because I'm doing it every 30 minutes. And please subscribe so that you get the alert when the video gets uploaded. Talk to you later. Bye.